The Elemental project, designed by naval architect Bill Tripp for Abeking and Rasmussen, seeks to go back to basics on superyacht design and re-engage those on board the superyacht with the sea, taking from his experience as a sailor. Bill Tripp has designed not only a motor yacht, which is elemental, but he has also designed a sailing yacht that reinvigorates the idea of the large sailing yacht. You've worked on a new project, concept project called Elemental. Elements are the very building blocks of life. Are we getting back to the building blocks of yachting?
Well, this is where we're always pushing. I think it's our job as naval architects, like architects in general, is to look into the future. By using the term elemental, what we're doing is we're looking at a boat as that intersection between wind and sea, the earth and the water, the earth and the ocean, and trying to position the boat so it's the best of those two worlds. We've done a power boat now where we think it's going to be leading towards the future of something that is more sustainable, but certainly more user-friendly for a boat that's going out around the world, transitioning between Saint-Tropez and South Pacific, transitioning between New York City and Cape Horn. We've had a boat recently go through the Straits of Magellan. It's the time of their life. And we think this is why you build a boat, is to go access all of these places. And so into the design, we've incorporated a boat, a hull form that slides easily, that will save a lot of power on the trip, but will still deliver the same amount of volume, the same amount of weight, the same amount of stability that a modern superyacht should have, and yet give you a feeling of being more involved with your trip, that there's much more deck space, the boat's lower, so you've got more harmony with the water. We're not stacking the boat as a ziggurat away from the water. We're actually trying to bring you more involved with the inside-outside experience of being on a boat in some of the most beautiful places in the world.
You're a passionate sailor. A stick and canvas is what really rocks your world. Is there a sailing yacht version of this concept?
Yeah, we see it as one single concept. And there's the powerboat version way to do it and the sailboat way to do it. The sailboat incorporates all of those same things with two rigs that are two-dimensional foils that are on rotating masts. They're two-dimensional wings. In a way, we would call it a cat catch, and it's very similar to the cat rig dinghies that we're designing currently for 12-footers. We know they sail upwind, they sail downwind, they reach very well, they're very simple, they're rotating masts, they're easy to use, and we're just broadening that concept up to a 90-meter boat that has a lot in common with the Quio that we did. A Quio is a sailor's sailboat, and that is somebody who's loves sailing, loves heeling, likes having lines to pull on. And we're doing a boat really now that's taking some of that, but harking back towards what the powerboat experience is and saying we can give somebody the powerboat experience and combine that with a sailing experience with a boat that doesn't heel as much, that is a great reaching boat. It goes downwind, it goes upwind, but there aren't sheets, there isn't a lot of rigging, it's freestanding masts. It will still have a good click of performance. It will be faster as a sailboat than a powerboat, and it will give you the feeling of being the toy itself. We often hear that people on powerboats say, "Are we there yet?" And people on a sailboat usually say, "We're here."
And by that, sailing, as I think you've said to me before, Bill, that sailing itself is the experience, and a motor yacht is getting from A to B.
Well, I think motor yachts actually are, I'm probably underselling the motor yacht experience there. What I'm trying to do is broaden that motor yacht experience, so while you're on the boat, There's more to do, there's more access to the water, there's more feeling of being involved in your environment. On a sailboat, on top of that, the boat itself is something of a toy that you use experientially, moment to moment. That if you're going from one island to another in the Pacific and they're 400 miles away, it's a joy to sail the boat. It isn't something where you look at the watch and say, are
we there yet?
How long is it going to take to get there?
And Abeking and Rasmussen, their enthusiasm for this project, huge, I guess.
Yeah, it's 100%. We've been talking a long time. I'm doing work with them for more efficient hulls, particularly on the commercial side with them right now. And they've asked me to help them go back and reestablish themselves or establish themselves at a higher bar in the sailing yacht world. One of my favorite boats I did with them, Liaigre, a 40 meter, that was becoming something of an iconic boat now. It was considered a pretty radical boat in its day. I remember when we sent the sail plan out to the sailmakers, he said, "This isn't a cruising boat." I know that somebody wrote an article about in yachting world that this was not an appropriate boat to sail around the world with your kids because it was too sporty. And they immediately took a family of 5, and they took teachers and dive trainers and yoga instructors with them, sailed around the world, and when they came back, arrived back in the Med, the 5 kids got back together and asked the parents if they could go again one more year. So we felt like, well, that was a big success, and we based a lot on that boat in our super yacht career. And going from that to a 90 meter to A&R, we now think we can bring a lot of experiences of ourselves and Liaigre also for a feeling, a flair inside the boat, and create a really groundbreaking project moving forward.
Bill Tripp, thank you very much.